Item 3.1, Northwest Community Services Agency has a presentation. To present it, we have Chief Executive Officer Millie Ronsville.
One more try on the. One more.
Is that working? Oh, yes. Councillor Sutherland invited me, and now he's not even here, so planned this a few months ago. But I just kind of a very short presentation, just kind of an overview of our agency. We've been here for quite a while, and we have about 58 programs, so I'm not going to list them all, but kind of a high-level overview. And then if anybody had any questions or wanted any more information, I'd be happy to provide that after the meeting. So essentially, this is our mission, to improve the quality of life by providing resources and services within our community. Because we have programs targeting all aspects of the population, all the way from prenatal care to Alzheimer's, the senior center, everywhere in between, we settled on kind of a broad mission so we could include everything that our organization operates. Who and what we are what is called a community action agency. So we are a result of the War on Poverty programs that most organizations started between 65 and 67, so we're one of the later ones. But the purpose of a community action agency is to be kind of a mover and shaker in your community. None of us look alike, so in Wisconsin there's 16 of us, there's 1,100 of us in the country, but that is kind of the beauty of community action, is everything that we're doing is driven on our local needs based on lack of services or gaps within our service area for us, which is Ashland, Bayfield, Douglas, Iron, and Price. The other unique part of a community action agency is we maintain a tripart board of directors. So 1/3 of our board or more are currently low-income individuals, including formerly homeless. 1/3 are county board appointees, so appointed off the counties of the Ashland, Bayfield, Douglas, Iron, and Price. And then we fill the balance of our board with members of the community. So it could be a specialty like a banker or financial organization, but that's kind of the beauty of a community action. And then the needs assessment every 3 years. That's something else that not every organization does, but we have a process in which we conduct a needs assessment every 3 years. We use that to kick off kind of the strategic planning for our organization, going through and addressing what the gaps and needs are maybe. If there's a service that we need to maybe discontinue, change, add something new, looking at what our partners' needs are. But that's another feature that's unique of specifically of a community action agency. These are kind of our two hub locations, as we call them. So organizational offices that have a variety of services within them. So our admin office is located at 1118 Tower Avenue. The other services operated out of 1118 Tower include our tax site. We do the free tax program for individuals that are low income. Our drive-up food pantry services, if anybody have seen that, Mondays and Thursday mornings, we're hopping in the parking lot. We also house most of our supportive services programs. So like our rental property manager is there, our COVID assistance manager is there, our coordinated entry specialist is there. But we list these two separate because they have a lot of services, and I'm not going to mention what goes on in Ashland because if you want to know, you can ask me later. Also in Superior, we have the Lou Martin Senior Center, right across from the library. I think everybody's familiar with the Senior Center. And then we have a separate facility down at 502 Tower. Memory Lane Adult Day Services is a state licensed adult daycare specific for Alzheimer's and or dementia. The Solid Rock, it's a men's shelter located in the north end. Right across the street from that, we don't have it listed, but we have a licensed food bank and our community garden. We have our WIC office, which is located in the back of the Herberts and Gerberts building off the alley. And then kind of touching on some of the services that we have, which of course are very brief here, but we have a food pantry program. As I mentioned, we're doing that as a drive-up. So Mondays and Thursdays, people come through the parking lot. We load their trunk with that food box, and then we've also added the senior stock box program to our building as well as the senior center for those that have transportation issues, We found it, when we interviewed people, 2/3 of them were coming to our building anyways. So for a complimentary service, we've made it so people can pick up both of those boxes. Affordable housing, we own low-income housing units that we rent out throughout our 5-county service area. So we don't receive any subsidy for those units, but we do charge at or below fair market rent. So for instance, our 3-bedroom houses in the city of Superior, we're renting for $400 and $500 a month, versus the market tends to be more of the $1,000 to $1,400 range. So the capped rents and people have to be at or below a certain income limit. Farmers market vouchers, we issue that as part of our WIC program. That's a caseload program. We maintain a caseload of about 900 households here in Douglas County. The VITA program, if people don't know what that is, that's free income tax assistance for those that are income eligible. The prevention, I don't know if I'll talk about that here, but we've utilized a lot of resources in terms of COVID. So homeless prevention traditionally is an individual's behind on their rent, they're facing eviction, and we pay their rent for them to be current. With the additional resources available through the CARES Act, we have what's called the WARE program, which is the Wisconsin Emergency Rental Assistance. It's a program of the Treasury. We administer that via the state of Wisconsin for our 5 counties, and that program actually provides up to 15 months of assistance. So since the pandemic has started for our 5-county service area, our small little agency has administered $750,000 in payments to landlords. So very impressive in terms of resources available and the small footprint we have. We get a report every week on the evictions that are filed in our service area, and then we're able to reach out to people that might be at risk that way as well. I'm highlighting that one because statewide, the eligibility goes up to 80% of CMI, and in that group of people 60 to 80, only 10% are being served. So we're missing a large portion of the population that may be behind on their rent and eligible and don't know that they're eligible. The scholarship applications for the YMCA and SAHA, those are both things that we have processed for those organizations for decades. Those organizations weren't comfortable with the income verification process and the sensitive information, so we process that, determine where their income actually falls, and then provide it back to the agencies. Rapid Rehousing is a supportive housing program. We have 2. We have a COC-funded project, 1 of 5 in Wisconsin, specific for persons fleeing domestic violence, as well as regular homeless individuals, not a specific category, and then the SSVF for veterans. But Rapid Rehousing is for individuals that are homeless. They come off the priority list, and we're able to subsidize a portion of their rent for a period of time, similar to Section 8. People are familiar with that program. RSVP, you can barely see it on there, but on here we have the RSVP program. That was a program that for many years was operated here by Catholic Charities. It was a discontinued program a few years ago. We had to wait for that process in terms of, it's a federally funded program, for that program to go back up for competition, which we did apply for, and we have brought back RSVP here in Douglas County. So our staff member that's at the Lou Martin Senior Center has been enrolling volunteers in stations for that program. Homeless, I put on its own slide because homeless is a huge, huge part of our world. We receive a variety of funding sources to try to address the need. We have what's called coordinated entry. It is a HUD term, meaning anybody that's homeless in our 5 counties needs to be assessed, put on a priority list, and that is the list that is used to determine the next eligible person for any of the supportive housing programs I have listed below. I had a list run yesterday. We have 138 people sitting on there. So it does not move very quick. Our numbers continue to grow. But anybody that's homeless within our 5 counties that's in need of some of the longer term supportive housing, the transitional housing that I had talked about, rapid rehousing, making sure that you're connecting those with our coordinated entry staff person. The tenant-based rental assistance, that is a program that we started 3 years ago, and that is a program that we target youth. So that is individuals that are typically high school seniors, 18, working, couch surfing. So that's 80% of our caseload. The remaining 20% is a partnership with Douglas County for family reunification. for individuals that have their children in out-of-home placement and just need the housing piece as part of their care plan for reunification. That is another population we work with. So the tenant-based rental assistance is home funded, and those are the two groups we chose to create a program for locally, again, based on our needs assessment and some of the gaps our partners were seeing. Volunteer opportunities. I always promote these, especially the tax program. Our tax assistance program is always limited by our number of volunteers, not our number of clients. So anybody that might have a couple extra hours free in their week or free in a day that's willing to come and assist with the tax preparation program, we can certainly use more. We're still, despite the pandemic, have been able to do over 1,000 federal returns, but we were turning people away because we didn't have enough preparers. So I'm going to highlight that one because training's going on now. Taxes will be starting the end of the month. I want to make sure I list our partners. So as I mentioned, we do have a licensed food bank. So our organization supports not only the food at the Solid Rock and the food that we distribute through our food pantry, but we also have 9 other food locations that we provide financial support, as well as the commodities and other resources that we have available. And then for homeless services specifically, we receive the federal allocation, and then we contract dollars back to CASTA, Harbor House, and New Day Advocacy Center for their operations. So pandemic, we have to brag. We discontinued the free store bingo and the soup kitchen. Otherwise, we kept everything else. Found a different way to do things, whether it's clients coming in one at a time, doing things by mail, moving things out to the parking lot, switching our tax return to drop off, pick up, instead of having people coming in. But over the course of the pandemic, we actually increased our numbers served. So I was impressed, not just me, but my staff, all the things that they've done to continue to bring resources into our community and increase the number of clients we're working with. Our free store here at our main office on 1118 Tower is going to be permanently closed. We found that we need the additional space to be able to do the food pantry program. If anybody can imagine assembling a Super One box, we're doing 250 of them in a morning as people are driving up. So in the long term, eventually we plan on things moving back indoors. But what used to be the free store will be a more conducive space for clients to be able to come back in and pick their own groceries. And then we are starting our first shelter here in Ashland. People may have seen some of that on the news. I know Councillor Sutherland had asked about that. But we're starting a 21-unit shelter that was formerly a hotel in the city of Ashland. So that'll be one of our newest ventures, and waiting on our website to be launched. So if you, after this presentation, look at our website and it looks horrible and not updated, it is. We can't update it, but we have another one built behind the scenes that we're hoping to launch that'll have more accurate information. Okay, that was very short. I want to take a lot of people's times, and if anybody had any other questions or comments or wanted more information, I'd be happy to provide that after the meeting.
Are there any questions? Comment? Councilor Sweeney.
I'm sorry. Thank you, Millie. Millie and I go back a long way. Proud to say that I've learned a lot when I was on the board with Millie, and so it's just a first-class outfit all the way. So thank you, Millie, for all your work.
Thank you, Jack.
I have a very simple question. A lot of the services that you listed, all of us get calls or messages at some point for somebody seeking one of those services, even if they don't know that that's what they need. They're in crisis, they're being evicted, can't pay the utilities, something. Is there a direct number that we can refer them to?
The main office number, the 392-5127, we have still kept a live receptionist. So Monday through Thursday, we still have a person that really answers the phone and fields questions. I know that's kind of been aggravating when we've surveyed people not having that central point of contact, and certainly stop in. But it's kind of a bit of a chore, but we have a manual about that thick, and she keeps track of, if this agency is out of money or this agency discontinues a service. But we do have a staff person that's what she does.
So once again, 715-392-5127 is just a good number for all of us to have in our phones.
Yes.
Thank you.
And if we don't do it, we can tell you who does.
Thank you. Councilor Van Sickle.
Thank you, Chair. Millie, I just wanted to say thanks for coming on behalf of President Elm and myself. I think, like you, people approach us with a variety of issues around housing and food insecurity. So you're, like Jack said, it's so expansive and so impressive. So thanks for coming and helping us learn more about your work and how giving us an opportunity to learn more how we can support the work at NWCSA. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions, comments, discussion?
If not, thank you very much.